Perfect. Hello, my name is Alka Airy. I'm from San Francisco. I'm also a volunteer with Consumer Watchdog. Thank you for preparing and sharing the complaint data with the public. While it was great to see processing times decrease, what stood out to me is the small portion of complaints that get referred to investigations. For the last 2 fiscal reporting years, only 10% of complaints are referred to investigations. This is shocking, and it gets to the root of why the public has lost trust in the medical board as an agency safeguarding patient rights. The board is dismissing 90% of complaints each year with little transparency or analysis. There are 9,000 injured patients each year, many of whom are left permanently disabled, if not dead, and they aren't given a chance to have their injuries investigated. Their complaints are dismissed without action or explanation. I know because my own complaint was one of those 9,000 that get dismissed each year. My older sister, Airy, died from a series of preventable medical errors. She survived one error by an anesthesiologist who failed to intubate her for a procedure when the standard of care required it. But when the resulting lung injury then required her to get a lung transplant, another group of doctors failed her as well. How is it possible for a doctor to have a patient with 20 to 30% lung function who is on supplemental oxygen, who is under their care for 4 years with frequent visits, to ignore the symptoms of a declining heart and lungs? They failed to list my sister for a lung transplant in time, and yet had 4 years to do so. She went into cardiac arrest just days after her lung transplant listing. Once hospitalized, there were more errors with her care that weren't disclosed to our family, and we were pressured to remove my sister from life support without having any of these errors disclosed to us. If it hadn't been for one kind doctor with a conscience, we would never have known what ultimately caused my sister's death. She died of heart and lung failure at only 47 years old. She had no other underlying illness. What happened to my sister certainly raised a lot of questions about her medical care. It at least deserved further investigation by the medical board, but that never occurred. It isn't easy for an injured patient or their family to file a complaint. When negligence occurs, there are few answers given to a patient and their family. Doctors and nurses stay quiet, and medical records are withheld. Injured patients and families must deal with horrific circumstances, besides overwhelming grief, while pursuing answers, let alone justice. Injured patients have done nothing wrong except trust their doctors to do no harm, and yet we place the biggest burdens on them rather than those responsible for the harm.
Please conclude.
I hope the medical board will take a closer look at these 9,000 complaints